Oh my... No. Mm-mm. Hello, and welcome to this episode of How to Be a Great Player. Today we're looking at the question of, are you a judgment jerk? My name is Guy, and I get peeved when I have players sitting at my table who judge one another. Now, we shouldn't judge one another to begin with unless it's a competition or unless someone said, hey, would you judge me, please? I'd like to be judged today. Judging somebody else is, in my opinion, an incredibly arrogant thing to do in the first place. Right? So before I continue, this is a video about judging other people for their actions during role-playing. If you want to judge other people for the clothes they wear or their hairstyle or who they choose to sleep with or what religion they choose to practice, that's fine, and that's something that you want to do in your own space, preferably far away from everybody else. But if you are going to judge your fellow players at the table for actions that they are taking, then I'm afraid you don't really belong in that table. Now, there's also a difference between judging somebody and assessing them. Now, assessing is, oh, you did that. That's pretty interesting. That's cool. Oh, you did that. I wonder why you did that. So there's a difference between being curious as to the motivations behind somebody's actions and just dismissing them as being an idiot or doing something stupid. So if you say any of the following things, you are a judgment jerk. Oh, your PC wouldn't do that. No, for the last 3 weeks, your PC's been doing this. Now you're suddenly doing that all of a sudden. Nah, you're wrong. In your humble opinion, the player's PC is not acting in accordance to how they should be. But as far as the player is concerned, they are. Now, if the player's character is acting out, maybe there's a reason for it. And if there isn't a reason for it, it's just because the player wants to do it for that week. So what? What right do you have to tell them that their character wouldn't do that? Oh, that's against your character's alignment. If you say something like that, in your opinion, it's against judgment. Now, I immediately, I hear all the judges going, no, but if you're a good character and you suddenly kill someone, that's evil. And that's against alignment. Right. In cold-blooded murder, absolutely. But that means that you are completely discrediting the option that good people can sometimes snap and just go ballistic. So if you are concerned over the actions of a character, you can question that in-game, in character. Are you're really going to kill this person? I thought that was something that you didn't do. Isn't that better than going, no, you can't do that, it's against your alignment? Oh, you're just being silly now. If you've ever said to somebody at the table, oh, you're just being silly now. And I know, I as a GM have done that from time to time where my players have done something and I'm going, you're just being silly now. Until I realized that it was my fault. They were being silly because they didn't have any other choices. They didn't know of anything else to do apart from inaction or to do something silly. So in that case, it was my fault. As a player, if I say that to another player that they're being silly, maybe it's because I haven't given them any options. Maybe it's because I've been too domineering. Maybe it is genuinely because they're doing something silly. But to just say, oh, you're being silly now, doesn't help the situation at all. It creates an antagonistic situation where now they have to either prove that they're not being silly or they have to agree to your superior statement that they are being silly. So you haven't resolved the issue. You've now just got several people who are unhappy with each other. The better way to say it is, shall we call it a break here? You guys seem to be having a bit of fun and shall we? Maybe they just want to have fun. Maybe they want to cut loose. Maybe it's too tense. Who knows? You don't know until you ask questions rather than to make these kinds of statements. Why are you being so dumb? Oh, I love that question. And I get asked it frequently when I roleplay. Why are you being so thick? Well, because I believe my character would act like that. Not me as a human, my character. But you didn't ask, why is my character being so dumb? You asked, why am I being so dumb? So you've made it personal now. You're no longer asking my character, you're asking me as a human being. So as a human being, I have some choices, principally not to hit you in the face, but I have chosen these actions and these are my actions. The responsibility and the outcomes are mine, not yours. So making that statement, why are you being so dumb, is either an inaccurate statement, in which case you are showing yourself to be the individual who is lacking in ability, or is an accurate statement and the player genuinely made a mistake. Now that happens all the time, and I've seen some intelligent players just get the wrong end of the stick and did something incredibly dumb. But because you as the jerky player went, why are you being so dumb? It's now become this whole point of contention. It doesn't need to be. Don't be a judgment jerk. That's the bottom line. You're playing wrong. Well, now, if the person is not using the rules correctly, yes, then they are playing incorrectly and can be advised as to the correct solution. That's up for the GM to decide to begin with, and if the GM doesn't know, well, then you can offer. Hey, can I tell you how it should work, or how it was written in the book? Then we can decide if we want to use it that way. Yeah? Okay, good. So this is how it should work. If you are just saying that they're playing wrong in terms of, well, the Jedi would never act like that. Really? According to you, not according to them. And since you are a fellow player, you don't have the right to make that judgment call. That would be the GM. And the GM, anyway, should be guiding and advising the player. And if they're not, well, then you can quietly ask the GM afterwards, hey, is there another type of GM, a Jedi that I don't know about, and that they act like this? But to question the person in the game, that's just being jerky. Now, there is the opposite type of jerk. This is the one that sits there and when they're given advice, behaves badly. So when they are given a form of support, they judge it as an attack. So don't force my character to do something that they don't want to do. Well, if your character's being arrested, you don't have much of a choice in the matter. If one of the players' characters is driving the wagon, they're going to go left. You don't have much choice in the matter. You can get off the wagon if you like. But simply decrying that, no, that's it. That's it. Don't force my character to do what I don't want him to do. Well, you need to state your position. How do you feel that you're being forced by something? And if that's because of another player's character doing something, well, then your character is perfectly capable of stepping away. There's no rule saying that they can't. Why is your character stopping my character? Now this is where we start to step into this tricky zone. Both sides are judging one another. Well, let's say, for example, we have a paladin, that wonderful sticky problem. And the paladin is concerned that the group is going down an evil path. So the paladin actively works against the group because they believe that the characters are on the wrong path. If the player has had their paladin character articulate this, and you as a player have decided to carry on anyway, you should never ask, why is he trying to stop us from having fun? He's doing, or she's doing, what she believes the paladin would do. You must do what you believe your character would do. But don't question whether there's antagonism, etc., just because one player does something against you that you feel is unjust. Before you judge what they're doing, find out why they're doing it. Another type of judgment is the one where you have judged the game to be poor, and so you are just going to do something silly because the game is bad. When you do this kind of judgment, all that happens is that you ruin it for everyone, and everyone goes home feeling depressed and slightly confused as to what went wrong. Judging, in general, is a very misguided approach to role-playing. We cannot understand or know what somebody else is doing unless we ask. The moment we judge, that eye rolling, that sigh, that face palming when another player does something, that is judging that other player. And it is saying, in very direct terms, you are not good enough. It's the completely wrong approach to have. There should be enjoyment when you're watching other players embrace their character and do stuff with their character, knowing that, oh, look at what you're doing. Your character is pressing the big red button. We know the big red button is going to cause the armies to arrive, but your character's pressing it anyway because you as the player, you've forgotten. But I'm not there. So instead of me rolling my eyes and judging you for being a poor player, I should be relishing the story that's going to come out of this disaster which has now occurred. Embracing it. And if I'm really concerned, if I really feel like I need to have input into what the player is about to do, I can always say, Sally, you do know what will happen when you press that button. Well, when your character presses that button, right? If Sally goes, yeah, then you embrace it. You enjoy the decision that a fellow storyteller has taken in terms of where they are driving the story. If your character isn't there to intervene, your character isn't there to intervene. And you must accept that and embrace it. Don't judge. Don't be a judgment jerk. We don't need that. We've got other issues to worry about. We've got stats to keep track of and gold to count and enemies to vanquish. Don't judge me. Well, I hope you haven't been a victim of being judged, and I certainly hope you're not an eye roller or a deep sigher or a face slapper or a pencil-pushing judgment jerk. Until next time, I wish you and yours the very least judgmental playing.